Good evening, everybody. This is Cookie Seton. What I'm doing tonight is a re-recording of the class from Thursday, July 7th. This is for the website design for beginners using Dreamweaver. Just left some programs open. I'm just going to close them before we get started. And let me just get all these closed. I'll go back to our file. We always have to make sure that we're opening our file before we do anything. So let's get over there now. On mine, it was called 2011 Beaver Cheese. And what we were doing was we were setting up the website using div tags instead of using the tables. So I'm going to open where we had left off. I know the colors are different than I had done previously, but it's not that important. I want to make sure to have all the colors in there so we could start to replace it with the actual pictures and text. What it will look like by the end, let me just open it for you, is it will look like our main page did originally, except that in this we have no tables. If we go into the code, you'll see, let me scroll up so you can see how it's all set up. If you look at the code, you'll see here each of these with the pound sign is each of the div styles that were used. Floating allows everything to stay butting up against the left side of the screen. The height and weights are already in here, and everything is color-coded so that you can read the code more easily. So we'll be adding these backgrounds, and we'll go through all of it together. This is the completed one, and this is the one that we'll be working from, and we'll take a quick look at that code. And you'll see in here we have a lot of background colors. We're going to be taking out those background colors and replacing them with either images or appropriate colors. So let's get started. And right now let me see where I am at the top. Sometimes I can't get the insertion point where I want it to be. In here, I want it to be in the header, and sometimes I can't get the cursor inside. So I'll click into the split view, and I'll just put my cursor right in between that area so that I know that I typed inside of there. If you saw before, I kept having trouble clicking inside this area. I kept getting outside of the place where I wanted to add my text. So by coming into the split code or into the code, I'm able to squeeze my cursor in the place where I need it to be. Okay, so you'll notice here on the CSS styles, these are all my divs. If I want to see the actual properties of each one, I could either double-click inside of it, and here I see my background. So the first is I want to take that background color out, and I want to replace it with the background image that we were using in the previous website. So I'll go to Browse and open my images, and we were using the Beaver Cheese banner. I'm going to actually do two things here. I'm going to use it as my background and also as my image. So now I replaced that color. The word header is still here. I'm going to take it out. I didn't really need it there. And I also want to add it on top of here as the image itself. I don't really need to, but the reason that I want to do both is I want to show you that you could use these images as a background. The problem, and right now I'm in the live code, the only problem with using it as a background is that if you want to make this a link back to your home page, if you remember, this is going to become your template, and this will represent all of your pages going forward. So you will want to have either the entire banner to be your link back to the home page, or at least the name or the image. So we're going to insert the image as well. And in my alternate text, just put the name of the website or whatever it is you want to put in there. Okay, and let's just map out just the beaver itself as the link back to the image, to the index page. So I'm going to use the circle hotspot tool, and I'm just going to create a nice big circle around him. Give it an alt text so that, and I'll put it right down here, back to home page. And where am I linking it to? Well, I'll link it to the original. Well, I'll link it to the page that we're using now. I can always rename it later on to index or whatever I want to call it. Okay. Now that we've done that part, we want to replace this area, and I'm going to go back and see what I had done here. And I had also used the scribe menu. So I want to be able to use the same scribe menu in my new page. So let's just take a look. I'm going to click into here and go into the code, and just to give you an idea of what the code looks like for the scribe menu. Let's see, this is my header right here. My navigation, this is going to be the area that holds my scribe menu bar. And I centered it. I can see it from here. And let's see, we have the home page. Well, we'll see as we go along. Let's just take a quick look back at it. So we have home, recipes, order now, calendar, etc. Just grabbing a pen so that I don't forget any of the categories as I switch from this page onto the next page. Home, recipes, order now, calendar, and probably contact. Yeah, contact us. Now, if I want to see what's inside of here, and we're going to be creating this in just a moment, I could click into the word scribe menu bar, this turquoise. What that does is it will change my property panel, and this is what we'll be creating so I can see what's inside of each one. And if I click into them, I also could see what page they're on. Okay, so order now, probably just by itself. The calendar, the contact us. So it looks like the only one that has a sub-menu is recipes, and we'll need 3 subs on that one. Okay, so we're in this area. This is our navigation or just nav, and I'm going to look at the background of this one. Well, let's change it to kind of, well, yeah, we'll kind of match up to what we have. We're also going to add that, let's see where it is, the menu bar right here. Let's apply it, see if we can see the change. Okay, we see the change automatically. And if we need to make it wider, well, we'll find out after if that's going to be necessary. So remember that this circle will not show when, I'm going to go into live view. When it's published, the circle doesn't show. It's just for editing purposes. In this area is where we need to put our navigation. So we're going up to Spry. Spry menu bar. And we'll be using the horizontal. You'd be using vertical if you were working, let's say, on the left side. And you see your items right away. And let's start replacing what we have. Now, I know it's a little small. Let me just see if I can make it a little bit bigger. You can see this arrow. This arrow indicates that there are sub-menus. In the first one, it's home. We really won't need these sub-menus, but let's start to replace what we have in here. Let's name the first one home. It'll link to our index page. And I'm going to use the name that I've used just for this exercise, but you would normally call it just index. Whoops, got to be careful of the spelling. Usually index is enough. I just don't want it to confuse between all three that I have here. Okay, press tab. These items I won't be needing, so I'm going to subtract them, take them out of here, and move on to the next one. I can make my change up in this window, or I can make the same change below. Well, not right now, but before I was able to. Well, I'll do it from here for now, and I like to go back and forth so you can see that you have two options. So I have recipes now, and that one should link to, let me find that page. Here we go. Oh, actually, I don't even have to do that. Just go straight here. I got my recipes, but I also need 3 categories within my recipes. So I'm going to click on the menu item, and I see I have an untitled item. Again, I can change it from here or down here. First one will be enchilada. Oh, forgot that I was on cap lock. And I believe we had a page for that one. Here it is, cheese enchiladas. I like to start to type it. I find it quickly that way. I'll make another category. This one will be our cheese balls. And we'll link that one to its page. And one more item. This one will be, I'm going to change it from here this time. It's or spinach. I think they were spinach tarts. Now, from here, I can't add, well, I could add my link. I can just select this And let's find our link for this one. Oh, spinach bake. I'll have to change the word. There we go. So we'll make that small correction here. Our next category, I like to work from here. I'm going to come back here. I think I get a lot more done in a lot less time. This one will be our order now. I'll keep this one in capital. And we don't need the subcategories of that, so we're just going to click inside and subtract them. Okay, if you just notice what happened was I had 3 levels, and as I removed level 2, it removed level 3 for me. Take them out and move to the next one. The next one is our calendar. Oops, what I do? Can't type from there. You got to type from here. And I still need one more. I need one more for contact us. I'll put a plus sign, add one more, and that will be our contact us. Oops, wrong spot. Yep. Oops. Let's see what happened here. Let's pop back to the top. So it's looking good. It looks like we don't have enough space for all of them, so we're going to have to make some more space for that last one. We have to make a few changes in order to get all of them to fit. Oh no, this is correct. This is part of. I'm forgetting that we're looking at the screen so large. There we go. So now they're all in order. If I wanted to change the order of any of these, I can use this arrow to move an item up or move it down. You see how easily you're able to reorder it. Same thing from the recipes. You can have any of these, the orders changed in here, or you can come back up. So it's that easy to change the order of things. All right, let's leave that part and let's go on designing our page. Our left side of the navigation that we had used, well, let me see, the left side here, we had this kind of peach color with the white border. We want to get that back on each of the sides. So let's go into, now sometimes it's hard, I don't remember, let's say, what the name of the area that I'm in. I look in my status bar and I see right away which div I'm in. If I come out of that div, go somewhere else, it shows me where I am. So this is my left div. I'll come up into my CSS styles. I'll see that my left div is here. I can always change or just check things out in my properties, or again, double click into it to be able to access a wider range of information in here. It's easier to find everything here, but sometimes just quicker to work from this right pane. So let's remove this color completely, and anytime as you're working, you could just keep applying and see what you're doing. We'll browse and to find the image that we need. It'll be this left border. Okay. Now, the repeat, if you remember, we need the repeat just to move down the page. It should move down on its own. If we put no repeat, we would just see a small band right at the top. Let's see, I think that it's Y Y is the way that we want to repeat it on the Y-axis, going up and down. We don't necessarily need it on the X, but it wouldn't show anyway, even if we left that part out. Let's go over to the right side and do the same thing. How do I know if I'm in there? I got to see that div pop up in here. There I go. Sometimes I can't get right into it, so if you hold the Alt and click, sometimes that'll get you inside of there. So you see that you're in the right place. Double click it. Let's remove the background of that area, the background color, and put the right border. Okay, and we'll repeat that on the Y. Let's take a quick look before we actually close it. It looks fine. Press OK, and we're ready to continue on. So let's get this awful color out of the main area. That's quite an eyesore in here. Now, even if I'm not in here, I can still work on it. The only reason sometimes I like to click inside is to be sure of which div I'm inside of. But I'll just go straight inside of here. This time, it's just the background color that I want to remove. I don't really have to open it completely, and that part is done. Let's take a quick look in the live view, see how we're coming along. Everything looks really nice and neat and orderly, and these are working fine. Now, the color that we have that's in here is here because I had done it in here. So I do have to show you how I ended up with these colors. It wasn't just by chance that they all matched. But I will show you in this CSS where that came from in a moment. Just want to grab the last area. Oh, look at this. We ended up with the word main. Let's get rid of that. Let's take that word out. Oops. I'm not sure why we ended up. Let me just save this a moment. I don't know where this break is coming from. I'm going to have to. Oh, I could see what happened. The right side didn't actually fit properly. This is the right div. It's not in the right place. I'm going to have to go back in the code and see where it got messed up from. So, you know, I probably should have started without this CSS in here. It might be throwing it off, but these problems do arise, so we have to deal with them. So let's go into the code and see if we can figure out. It actually might be in here, but it might be in the source code, in the CSS code. I'm not sure where the error is coming from yet, so we're going to have to kind of spy around and see if we can figure out what actually went wrong. Let me see. We have the header, let's see, the width is 1005. The navigation, well, I gave this navigation a little bit less width, but when you add it to the padding, then it's correct, because that'll add up 805 plus padding on the left side would bring that to 200 pixels would be 1005, so that looks right. In the left side, let's see, we have a width of 178 and a height of 300. I'm just going to write these numbers down and see if I can find where we lost something. The width is 649, same height, 178 again, and the same height. So 816, 25, 7, 14, 18. Well, it looks like it's adding up properly. I'm going to try just removing just a bit from each side and see if that makes any change to it. Shouldn't have to, but there's something that's grabbing the spot away, and I know that it looks wrong over here, but I'm trying to figure out what's knocking it onto the next level. You see, it's still knocking it over. I'll see if there was anything different in this one that maybe I'm not noticing, or maybe we had this. Oh, it looks like we had the same problem in that one. Well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to, let's see, oh boy. It's hard to tell where it's actually coming from. Looks like it happened equally on both. And, let's see if we bring it into the internet. Sometimes you bring it into Firefox, it might look a little different. So I'm going to play around and try to figure out where this change happened from. Okay, look at that. It looks fine here. I'll tell you, sometimes these programs could absolutely drive you crazy, and it looks quite good here. I could see that indent that I had, because I had made this just a little bit smaller a moment ago. I don't know. Let's see if I do it in Internet Explorer, what happens then. This is the thing with these programs. Sometimes it'll look one way in the live view and totally different when you bring it onto the browser. And here it's fine. So whatever's knocking it off in here doesn't really seem to be a real problem. So I think I'm going to bring it back to the original numbers and kind of just ignore the problem for now. So I'm going to go back into the split code. No, this is not mine. This one. Let's just reduce this one just a bit and see if that would help. Okay, from this point, let me close these two, make sure I ended up, okay, let's quit that. And let's quit this one. And let's just get our footer in. I'm going to take the text out and go right to the footer. Let's remove that color. And let's add a property. We can do it from here. We can look for background image. Let's search for it. And it's called a copyright footer, so we'll add that right in. And let's see if it looks like it's not fitting, but maybe well, let's see it on the browser. We might have to give it some more space. It did look like it wasn't going to fit down here, so let's see the dimensions of that image and see if we gave ourselves actually enough space for it. I'm going to go back into the images. Here it is. I can't see it from here, so I'm going to have to go into, look at my images from here. Let's see if it'll show. Okay, it looks like the dimension 647 by 35. So let's make sure we had 35 in here. I don't remember what we put in here, so I'm going to go back into the box. Oh, we didn't give it a height, so let's give it a height of 35 and see if that helps any. Looks like it looks better. Our original, well, let's take a look. I'm going to save our work and preview it one more time. Oh, there we go. Okay, also, if you notice, I left out the title, or I'm looking at this untitled document. It's important to always make sure to change the title. Let's go to, and even if you don't put what page you're on, at least you have enough in there that, you know, they know that they're on your website. So we recreated the home page without using the tables. You'll see as you work with it that you have a lot more flexibility than you did with tables. And there'll be times that you'll still be using tables. It's not that, you know, tables don't have any use. There's many times that you'll find within, let's say, this main document area, you might want to put a table within it to structure that part of your page. Okay, as far as the way that these colors came about, that is from the properties of the Spry menu bar. Now, this part could get really confusing because there are so many components to it. And this is all created by Dreamweaver. When you insert a Spry menu bar, it uses JavaScript, which is not something that you have to learn, but it's what creates this effect. And just come back in here for a moment and you see how each one works. So let's see how these colors came about, and if we wanted to make some changes to it, how we can do that. So by clicking in and leaving the properties open, it'll give you more of an idea of what each part is for. Certain parts you may not need to touch, but let's say in the padding, let's just see when we put some padding in, you can see that it just moved it over. I don't really want to do that now, but I want you to just, you know, take the chance and experiment with it and see what each part will change for you. This side I'm not going to touch right now. This LI stands for list item, and this one is horizontal unordered list. From here you could change, let's say you had more tabs and it wasn't all fitting, you can change the width. I'm going to just change it to 8. Oh, no, you don't really see a difference. Let's see. Okay, that's not actually changing it, so I'm going to leave it back where it is. And this is the sub-menu. I'm looking for the ones that actually have the color in them. Oh, this is probably the... Let me see. Okay, here is the A is our links. A really, believe it stands for anchor. I'm going to change the background color. Let's change it to this color, and you see right away that it reversed what we had before. So I'm just using my pointer to pick out the color. I think I'll try to match it pretty much to this area. Makes the most sense, and it leave that white. Now, remember that when I use the hover color, the hover is the reverse. It's what it is when you mouse over it. You see that this is the hover. And that's one of our original pages. So we have our background here. Let's make it something just a little different. Again, you can't see it here until, I don't even think you can see it. Oh, you can see it in the live, but it doesn't look like I really changed it. We'll leave this color now and we'll see. Let's save it. Now, when you save also in here, you have to remember that you don't only want to save the source code, but you want to save the CSS code as well. I'm going to go to Save All. Still not seeing the change in the color. Let's see what else we had in here. Okay, these get a little confusing. Sometimes I will change them to really odd colors just to see if I can judge what they are used for. There we go. Now we're seeing the color. So this olive color, let's see where it actually came from. It looks like it's from the unordered menu, horizontal, a submenu visible. So they do get quite confusing after a while, how many different categories. But the ones that you're probably going to be most conscious of is the size of the text and the type of font that you choose and the colors of the area. And display is inline. That is what creates this horizontal effect within this area. Not that you have to touch it, but there are times that you want to create your own navigation. Okay, I think that our navigation looks good and we'll be able to move on. So take just a moment break. Okay, let's continue on. Sometimes you have to excuse me that I don't remember everything that we covered in this class, but I believe that one part that I did include was a calendar, and we do have a calendar page. So let's take a look at what that calendar is, and I'm going to recreate it now. Let's see if I even have that on here. I should. Yeah, here it is. And let's go into the live view to be able to see it. Okay, so you see that I have this calendar here. Now, the I got this calendar from my Gmail account. So I'm going to go into Gmail, show you how I got this calendar. And I also, let me see if I put it on. I don't remember which page I put it on. But what I wanted to do is put an agenda on the left side. No, all right, it's not in here, but we're going to add it to our page right now. So we're going to recreate this calendar and put an agenda on our home page. So I'm going to remove it completely, so we'll start from that point. I'm going to go first onto the internet. I'm going to go into my own Gmail account. And I'm going to go straight into calendar. And let's see. Calendars. Need to go into, I got to find the settings. I know they moved it around last time I looked. They put it, okay, account settings. I don't like when they move things around. I like them where I'm used to them being. Web images, video map. One of these is going to be my calendar. Okay, where they put, we used to have a very simple way of, see where it went. See the agenda, this is what I want on the page. No, here it is, settings, right here. Okay, told you, they moved it around and they didn't notify me. Anyway, the one that I want is this one, the schedule of classes. This and, no, not share. Oh, gosh. Oh, here it is. Okay. This is what I want. Customize the color, size, and other options. It used to be easier to find. I don't know, suddenly it became a little more confusing. I'm going to go into the agenda. This is the one that I want. Now, I remember I only have 178 pixels in width to fit my agenda, so I can't work as wide as they started out. And my height, I think I had about 300 pixels. This is what it would look like. I'm going to take the title out. Looking better. Let's see if I need the navigation buttons. Oh, let's see. Put them back in. Okay, we'll leave those in. The date is a good thing to have. I don't need the print icon, the tabs. So I can go through them and decide what I want, what I don't want. Looks like I had more going on before. But, so events until, all right, I guess I don't have all that many events, but that's okay. Let's take it just like this. Here's the code, so we'll update the code, and Control A, Control C, come back into Dreamweaver, and I want to put it on our home page, and I better save it because I haven't saved in a while, and I want it to go right in this area. So I'm clicked inside this area, but now I have to switch into the code view. I'm inside the left div, right here, right in between where I need to be, and paste all that code. You don't really have to know that much about the code. The only thing you might come back in and change is the height over here or the width right in here. Go back into design view. All I see is a gray slab. But when I go into my live view, here's my calendar. So the wonderful thing about this feature is that anybody that has that Gmail account could update the calendar at all times. So on this page, I have just the agenda. And on my calendar page, I would like to show the full calendar here. So I'll go back into my Gmail account, and I'll change it back to my month. Let's see, the width. I don't remember how much width I have, so I'm going to have to look at with my. I don't have any styles in here. This one. Let me see if this happens to be a cable. This is not. Okay, this wasn't made with the divs. That's why I'm not seeing too many rules in this area. But as far as my width, let's see if I can get it back. Well, let's figure from here. We're at about 225 to 825. So okay, 600. I know I have enough for 600. So I'm gonna use 600 as my width. And 600 for my height. And that looks like it'll work out pretty good. If I want to put my titles in, easy enough. Grab the code, copy it, and make sure when you paste it that you paste it not here, not in the design view, but in the code view. You got to be in the code view, paste it, come back to design view, and you'll see it here. Again, you won't see it until you go either to live view or into the browser to test it out. And here's your calendar, which will be constantly updated by whomever is in charge of that Gmail account. Okay, so we'll save the changes. Anytime you make a change, you have to make sure to save your changes. And also keep in mind that when you press save for here, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's saving your CSS. You either come into the CSS and save it, or every now and again, save all. Okay. Okay, while we're on, let me come out of live view. While we're on the home page, let's just put the text in here. Now, if this annoys you that it's open, you click and then just come off of recipes. Go to one of them that doesn't have a sub-menu. That menu will close and it'll stay closed. It's a lot easier to work that way. So if you needed to put the text back in here, if you remember that, well, let's not put the text yet. Let's make our template from this point, because we want our agenda to come out on every page, but what's coming inside the center area, that's going to change from page to page. So, again, okay, there's my insertion point. I'm going to go to Insert, Template Object, Editable Region. Oh, I didn't convert it to a template yet. My mistake. Okay, that's all right. We're going to just call this main and file. You know what? Let me go back a step. Let's save it. Save this template first. It'll give it this name. You always can change it, of course. Update the links, yes. And now we'll insert the template object. Oh, wrong spot. Again, sometimes I can't see if my insertion point is going in the right place. I want it right here. That's where I need it to be. So let's see if I put my template object from here. Okay. I actually don't like it that way. Let me just think about how I want to do it. If I want to make sure, well, let's say this is my main section. Okay. Okay, that way it gives me just a little more area that's covered in the main section. Okay, a little easier to work with this way. And right now I'm in my template. I'm going to save it. What I want to do now is I want to create a page that says Visit Us. Okay, so I'm going to do File, New, and Page from Template. I'll use our new template, Create, and this page is going to be, save it, and we'll call it Visit Us. So in this section, what I want to do is I want to put a map in here. Okay, let's give all this a different heading. That may be a little too big. Okay, that'll work. And we're going to go back onto Google. Go straight to Google's site. And let's give it the address of the OU building, which is 11 Broadway, New York. And right in here, let's see, if we click on the link, then here what it says, paste link in email. No, that's not what we want. Paste HTML to embed in website. Yeah, and it gives us the size, customize, and preview. Now, we could stick with this size, or, you know, we couldn't see what fits best on our page. It really doesn't matter. It's not going to lose proportions if you make, let's say, the width. If you change the width but not the height, it's not like an image that you're going to be ruining the proportions. So let's see if in Customize would make it, see how we just did that? It just opens it up into a little more space. So this looks nice. Let's stick with this one. And copy and paste this HTML to embed in your website. So we're going to Control A, Control C. And again, we have the insertion point in the right place. Move into your code and paste it inside the code area. Come back. Again, it doesn't look like anything until you view it. Give it a moment. Hope that we'll be able to. I think you know what happened? I think I made it too big. So let's see if we can come right into the code and make it smaller without going back and forth. Let's see, here it is. I'll bring it down to 525 and come back into design view. Let's see if we're any better now. Still looks like it's getting thrown off, but you know, without actually changing it, I'm going to go straight into the browser and see how it's looking, because that's a truer test of whether or not it's fitting well. Okay, see that we're much better. We should be getting our agenda here. Let's see if it's okay. It's just taking some time, but we got both. We got our map, we have our calendar, and we can see exactly where we are and just use this the way we would use the Google Calendars on any site. Okay, let me just see if there were some more things that we covered in the original class. Go through. No, I think, well, the only other part that we had done is just creating a couple of more web pages using the divs. I'll just go to one new one, a blank page, and creating the page by just, creating your divs. Let's see if we can do a couple. Let's insert our first div tag. Usually you want to start with your wrapper. Give it a size. We'll give it a size of just like 300 by 300 just to start with a basic box. You can always adjust it. You always want to float it. I mean, not always, but for these projects, float them to the left. I'm going to give it a background just so we can see what we're doing pretty quickly. And here's your first div, and of course, this is dummy text that is just inserted by Dreamweaver. So from here, if you needed a header, you can either select this text and wrap around selection. This could be your header. Again, we'll give it a rule. You'll always see the pound sign that shows you that you're creating a div. And the rule for this box will have the same width. I'll make it a height of 50, load it to the left, and we'll give it its own background color. And I don't bother pressing apply at this point because I'm not really going to see it if I press apply. So right now we have the wrapper is the green, the main area with the header over it. If I know I want to split it into, let's say I want to put 3 columns. So I'm going to, without having to select anything, not at insertion point, but after tag, and put it after the last tag, which was our header. And this will be, let's say, column 1. And column 1 will have a background color. We have to give each one a unique color so that we can tell them apart. We'll make the width 100. We're going to make it 1/3 of what we had before. We originally had 300. Let's subtract the 50 from the header, load it to the left, and you see how we're starting to create a new table, a new frame for our website. Again, I like to work after tag, after the column 1. This would be column column 2. And keep going. Okay, again, our width was 300. We just used 100 to the left. We're going to be using 100 to the right. It leaves us with 100. And same with the height. It was 300 minus 50. I mean, these are easy numbers to do, but sometimes you have more complicated ones, and you want to be able to just let Dreamweaver do the math for you. Okay, and always make sure that you put the appropriate one. Okay, we'll give this last one the next color in line. And you've started to create your new website. Okay, I hope this helps those that either missed the class or needed this for a review. And this is Cookie Seton, hoping to have another class with you in the near future. Thank you all, and good night.